Hello, my fellow patriots. This is Alex with Disabled Vets Perspective. Hope the audio is clear. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Some of your destinations have errors. Okay, well, if you're over there on D Live and you can see me, appreciate you hanging out. Obviously, on Facebook, I can't see anything from Facebook when I'm on here, but if you're over there, I appreciate you too. Hello, Hondo, Margot, good to see you. OG Salty, how are you? And silly as I want to be. Um, got some information today. That's why I had to keep rescheduling this live feed because we were waiting for stuff. And nobody knows what it's like to be waiting at a hospital, I'm sure. So, but anyway, we got the results of Lisa's PET scan today, and the there is good news, and then there's questionable news, but there's no bad news. And questionable news can be one of those iffy things. So the tumor in her trachea is about a little less than half the size that it used to be. So it is shrinking. It was basically, if you took your finger and you put your other finger down on your knuckle right here, you would have that length, which is about how tall it was. And it was almost 2 fingers wide in the trachea. And now it's about as big as the tip of the finger and about 1 finger wide. So it's almost gone. About maybe another 3 months, and this thing will be completely gone. But anyway, so that is the good news. Put a light on the subject. That's the good news. The questionable news is there is and in a it's a lymph node, and you have many of these throughout the body. And usually, when people get cancer, the cancer spreads to the lymph nodes. So you always keep an eye on those in your CT scans. You make sure that there's nothing happening in the lymph nodes all of a sudden while you're trying to treat something else. And in this case, she has what they call a hot lymph node. Hot meaning that it flashed up on the PET scan, and you don't like things that flash up nice and bright because that's a tall tale sign that there's an issue there. Now, the reason it's only questionable and not bad news is because she is fighting an illness, and obviously that's the cancer. And a lot of times your lymph nodes will flare up because they produce they're the part of the system that helps to fight infection. Your lymph nodes. That's what they do. So sometimes they'll just go blah and flash up real bright because they're doing something else, and it may not have anything to do with the cancer. So that is why it's questionable. The other thing about the lymph node is the flash was about the size of maybe two pinheads, writing utensil, and two pinheads side by side. So it's more like a blip than a flash. But because of what she's going through, they're not going to just go, okay, well, we'll just let this go. They're going to go ahead and do a biopsy, and that'll happen on the 15th of this month. And it's nothing. It's basically they just take a needle and they fire it through you like a lawn dart, and then they pull it back out, and that little bit on the tip of that needle is all it takes to identify if there are cancer cells. So that'll be done on the 15th. Um, we will know basically in the next, probably, I guess we're looking at another 2 weeks. We'll know how much is left over from all the donations that you guys have sent, and I'll do a basically, I'll figure out the math. I'll get total, and then I'll let you guys know how much we're going to be donating into somebody's account here at the oncology hospital, so that we can help them go through the struggle like people have helped us. Because there are many of them in this place that have to walk away without treatment because the copays and the insurance is so insanely high. But none of us should be complaining about that, though, because we have to remember that the illegal immigrants are well taken care of. So that should make us exceptionally happy, and we should never get discouraged by having to pay astronomical medical bills. So that's good. Hello, Black Spring, Big Dog. Good to see you. Good to see you guys. So, anyway, I take everything right now as nothing bad. Uh, Nothing, no bad news was fired across our bow today. Just things that we need to take precautions for. And the other thing is, if this thing happens to be a little blip, little hot spot of cancer, the fact that I mean, it's almost minuscule. It's like catching something before it ever has a chance to do anything. You see it flash, and then you just nab it like a fly flying by, and you just grab it. So this thing is micro, which means that if it is a hot spot, if it is cancer cells, then they will be able to blast that thing with a couple of doses of radiation and put it to sleep. So it's nothing is extraordinary at this point. So all in all, good news. Medications are all working. Everything's stable with her. Yeah, good stuff. Anyway, so I wonder what's going on in the craziness of the world. By now, most of you have probably heard that the country of Myanmar now has a military government, because the psycho that was running that country happened to be a best bud to Obama and to Hillary Clinton. And she's also responsible for millions of deaths in her own country, which is probably why she's so praised by Hillary and Obama. But anyway, they used the Smartmatic systems in their voting machines. Imagine that. And the military saw uh, basically fraud at levels that couldn't be hidden, and decided, no, they're not going to put up with this. So they took over. Sound familiar? So right now, Myanmar is run by the military. When they get everything stable, then they will return power to truly elected people. And that, I believe, is what's going on here. Anyone notice that something that looks like gallows is being built? Yes, Johnny. Johnny boy, how you doing? Yes, the gallows at the White House. Now, I don't I don't reveal sources, but I can promise you I have one that works in security in what they call FEMA Security Division, and said that those are holding cells and gallows. So I have to say I trust my source, and we'll go with it from there to see what they decide to call it later. But anyhow, the other thing that might be happening, might end up giving up one of my favorite pastimes. Might end up trying to quit smoking. Can't imagine, but I've been smoking since I was 8. Um, Lisa's going to be going on to Chantix. She's trying to get a grip on her smoking. Reality check. We know we have to quit smoking if we're going to make it through all of this crap. So do what we can. She's going to go on Chantix, which will help her to medically quit. And I'm just going to start modifying my habit. I'm not going to smoke in the house anymore. So that'll hopefully do something. But I can't imagine. You can tell something big is about to kick off in the world. Absolutely. Yeah. Um, Interesting thing, we went, I guess the day before yesterday, to take Penny to go get her annual shots at a veterinarian that we've been with for 25, 35 years, something like that. And we went in there, and we'll back up a little bit. We went in there 3 weeks ago, and I made the appointment for her to get her shots. When I went in there, everybody in the lobby was unmasked. Everybody was talking, having a good time, and nothing was mentioned. I went for the appointment, and the woman says, "Okay, well, we can check her in." And she says, "Oh, if you don't have a mask, we have one, and we can charge you $1 for it." And I said, "I'm not going to wear a mask." And she says, "Oh, well, we require it." And I said, "Well, you can require all you want." I said, "I don't wear a mask." And he said, "You can, if you want my business, if you want to see me as see my patient, then we will go from here. But if you want to push the issue, then I'll be done with it." And she said, "Oh, well, it's required." And I said, "Well, you guys need to figure out your damn issue here, and you need to make up my mind, because 3 weeks ago there was no mask mandate. Now all of a sudden there is." So I told her, I said, you guys can keep playing this game based on all the bullshit that you're being fed, but I'm not going to be the one to do it. And I left there, and now that is done. I don't think so. They, I'm not going to do business there anymore. So 35 years, they've lost a very regular customer. We've had, when we had our petting zoo, we had over 200 animals, and we ran everything through that vet. So they they're done. And the reason I bring this up is because people forget where the power structure is in in this country. That veterinarian believes, oh, well, if you don't wear a mask, we don't want your business. Well, that's pretty stupid, because if businesses start feeling like they're the boss, then, you know, how are they going to make money? Don't they remember that it's not them, it's the customer that brings the business to reality? You can't just say, I'm going to open a business, and then sit in there and twiddle your thumbs. If you don't have some form of production line, even if that's human interaction with retail, then your business is done. So right now, the businesses feel like they have the power. Oh, we're big and strong, we're going to force you to wear a mask. Well, if enough of you decide to take the mask off and go into a store, what are they going to do? Kick all of you out? I mean, they're going to arrest all of you? You got to do these things in numbers. You got to remind these businesses where the power structure is. They have no power. They can demand things within their business, but they can also watch their business collapse around them. So as soon as they start realizing that it's we the people who have the power, then all these macho men that would never confront you on the street and bow up at you, those people that come up and you need to put a mask out, they're hiding behind their mask. You know, all you see is their eyes. Well, I'm a big tough guy, and I want you to put on your mask while you're in here. Well, not a single one of those pieces of shit would do the same thing if they approached you on the street. They feel emboldened because they're protected by their brick and mortar and their corporate structure. We're big and bad. We can tell you what to do. Well, start realizing that you guys have the power. Mask mandates, shut down forced vaccinations, shut down businesses. That's all illegal and unconstitutional. Amen. I agree with that. But it's more, the people have to submit, and not submit. That's not the word I meant. They have to become dominant. And while I was telling this woman at the vet that I'm not wearing a mask because it's all bullshit, here is all the Muppets around me, the skin puppets, wearing their masks, going, wonder why he's talking like that. And every single one of them, I didn't ask them, but you can just imagine going, wow, I can't believe he's being like that. All you got to do is put on your mask. No, that's not all you have to do, because that's just how it starts. I'm not giving up my identity. I'm not giving up my freedom. And that's the other thing I told her. I said, I fought for this country. I said, I signed the dotted line and swore an oath to protect these rights that you guys are giving away, and I'll be damned if I'm giving mine away. So I made my point very clear. And we didn't go further because it's not like I'm going to stand in their business and go, oh, yeah, well, arrest me. Okay, they will. You know, they'll get you for trespassing, which is insanity when you can be trespassed on an open business. So that's another unconstitutional grab. It's just a way to lock you up for a non-crime. But it is up to we the people to get the damn mask off. It's just time. I mean, what are people waiting for? Are they waiting for their television to tell them it's safe to go outside without a mask? Because if they are, they're asking the wrong people. I mean, if you look at the studies themselves of the World Health Organization and the CDC, they're telling you in bold print exactly what happened, that they lied, that they withheld information. It's in their own damn pages on their websites. You can look this stuff up. So it's time to unmask, unveil the face, so to speak. Get the freedoms back that were given to us by God and not quit giving them away. Because remember, the government can never take your freedom away from you. You have to give it to them. And if you don't give it to them, that's where the whole argument ends. They can't take what you will not give. So remove the mask, be done with the bullshit, and realize that this thing was all perpetrated to get a, a child sniffer into a White House, which he's not in, by the way, but that's another entirely different story. Yeah, 12B Georgia says, glad I'm not the only one fighting back. Well, every single one of us, if you watch my channel, you should be fighting back, because the last thing I leave you with in every video is stay in the fight. That doesn't mean stay in the fight while you listen to the video. It means when you go out into the public, you pull that damn mask off and you challenge authority. Or as they say in cartoons, challenge that authority. There is no power that they can take unless you give it. But anyway, I didn't go and get coffee because I was running so late. I was just drinking a Pepsi. So what else? I guess you guys probably saw from, if you watched Stony Stone or a couple other people, Stony put up that video about the gavel being dropped in the House chambers, closing off the night, and then swarming of the police cars all coming in front of the White House. What did you say here? Freeman says coronavirus has a 99.5 survivability rate because it's nothing but flu virus. Why should we wear a mask to take vaccinations or flu? Yeah. Well, yeah, the vax is another issue entirely, because we found out that in southern Florida, you know, we've got a very large elderly class in Florida. And down south, I heard one of these vac stations was they are backed up, and they are making people elderly wait in their cars, and apparently up to 6 hours in the car while they're waiting to get pricked. And then they're sent on their merry little way off to wherever they go without any observation. So they know that these are not hard tested vaccines. They know this stuff. So we are the human trials, as they call it. Hello, Franny. So being the human trials, you know, if you get a prick, you got to be under observation for a period of time. Think about these elderly folks. If they have an adverse reaction and then they take off in their car to go head to wherever they're going, and what happens if they have an adverse reaction? You know, what happens if they die from it because they don't have emergency medical care within reach? And worse than that, what if they die from it and their car swerves into another lane and head-ons another car that has 3 or 4 children in it, and they all die from it. These are the stupid things that are going on right now, and it brings me to another subject that I've been thinking about desperately. Ever since the Rona came out, I've been watching how medicine works. Not medicine pills, but medicine as in the medical industry. It has changed a lot. The personal level of medicine is almost non-existent at this point, and part of that's because everybody's masked up. There is no identity, so there is no expression of emotion. You can't, I mean, you can see into somebody's eyes, but you can't see the rest of their face. You can't see what's going on. So everybody loses the sense of emotion and transferring emotion from one person to another. But the hospitals have been using the weaponized Rona as a tool to inflate their banks. They've been making absolutely sickening amounts of money by just diagnosing people. And if they can, God forbid, get an intubator stuffed down their ass, then they make thousands and thousands of dollars. And it got me thinking about this. I've always known that medicine was financial. A hospital is a business. It's a very mega business. It's when you have hospitals and prisons that are privatized, they become money-making machines. And the personal care at hospitals is almost gone. The When Lisa had to be admitted into the hospital, it was almost like they were very inconvenienced when they had to be called down to help her in any way. I mean, I stayed at the hospital because I didn't see anybody who gave a shit. So I just slept in a chair next to the bed and stayed in the hospital so that I could be there at her beck and call if she needed something. But this is what I'm seeing across the board. We go to 4 or 5 different hospitals. Message from Mom. We go to 4 or 5 different hospitals now, and I see the same thing everywhere. It is absolutely stop right now. It's just a machine. They get you in. You're given a number. You're scanned with your scanning device, looking for a temperature. And yeah, I mean seriously, they give you a number. But mine is number 4. So you become a number. You become a financial asset to the hospital, and they poke you, prod you, and then they kick you the hell out. So anyway, one thing I'm thinking about is the fact that there's going to be something coming out when we change this whole system. And if you haven't looked them up yet, you need to look up something called med beds. And the reason I say this now is because med beds are straight up science fiction shit. I mean, Star Trek kind of stuff. These things are insane. You go into this, I guess, Lexan or plexiglass cocoon. It scans you a couple of times with a broad beam laser from head to toe. And then however the system works, it starts putting you back together. If you have broken bones, it heals them. If you have a bad liver, it heals it. It does everything. These things are just freaky. It's so far in advanced technology from what we plebs are used to that it goes into the impossibility realm. But the damn things exist, and they're coming. And this is why I think hospitals are using this Rona as a last ditch effort to build up their coffers, because when med beds come out and healing therapies, medications that have been suppressed, all this shit comes out, guess who's going to go broke? Little old horse pistols. They're going to go broke, because all you're going to need is a a doctor to monitor the machines, you're going to need a couple of nurses to fill out paperwork. So the money is going to deteriorate for hospitals because they don't have to send you to every specialist, or they don't have to take you to, 10,000 medications because this machine does it. It's just freaky. But, and this also goes to the, hello, Lisa, sweetie. She's upstairs and getting her infusion. Um, it takes me also to the prison system, and that was privatized also. And there seems to be an absolute mad dash to arrest the conservatives, as many as they can possibly get them in there, start processing and making that money. And again, I think it's to fill the coffers, because when we also get Nasera, all of the people that have been incarcerated for no criminal activity, no crime against a person of any kind, they're going to be released, because under constitutional law, if you haven't hurt another person or you haven't taken another person's property, there can't be a crime if there's no victim. So a lot of these people that are in jail because it was the state versus Matthews, there's no state. The state can't be harmed by, you know, forgetting to pay a parking ticket and then getting 30 to 60 days in jail. There is no state. So these things are all going to collapse, and they're going to have to redo it. Now, if you do something stupid, you hurt another person or you take another person's shit, then you go to jail. But the crimes are going to be more appropriate. If you take a life, and they're going to take yours. If you take somebody's shit, it's not going to just be ignored. You'll do your time, and then you'll be indebted to that person that you took their shit until it's completely paid for or replaced. So it's going to be different out here. Things are going to get weird. But uh, what are we saying here? Major Ron, the SDC is pouring soil belongs to the Queen. Yeah, it's foreign soil, belongs to the Queen, and therein lies the problem. Yeah, it's occupied now by the military, though. Look at the flag above the White House. You've got the American flag, and right underneath it is POW flag. That building is occupied. It has been seized by our military, and we are in possession of foreign territory. And once all this comes to pass, then that foreign territory will be absorbed into the U.S. But anyhow, so few things going on, It's but as far as getting real specific information from the news or anywhere else, it's been very, very difficult. Things are almost quiet as a mouse, except for the fact that we have all these people that are just dropping like flies. The producer of Friends and Frasier dies at 56. And, a couple of other Hollywood people all of a sudden die. Everybody's dying of the Rona. The Rona that's got a 99.98% survivability rate. So when you hear that somebody has died of Rona, you already know it's bullshit. Because, for one thing, the elites have been using the therapies that they've been denying us ever since the beginning of this thing. Check that shit yourself. Find out who's been taking hydroxychloroquine. Find out who's been getting special uh, therapies because, they're rich and we're not. And then ask yourself, if these are the people that are taking the preventatives and the first access to the cure, how can they be getting dying of the Rona? Think about it. They're not. These people are being taken the hell out. These are nasty scum. Um, Decline that. Sorry about that. I got this damn phone. And I gotta figure out how to turn off stuff. The other thing is if I turn on my Jeep, then everything goes through the Jeep, and then I can't turn it off. You turn down the Jeep, and it's still going. I can hear you, but whatever. So I had to remake my channel. What do we say here? I had to remake my channel, and I lost my wrench. If you like to, Northern Tiger, I can't do it on my phone, but as soon as I get home and I go to put my information under this video and stuff like that, and I'll get you glued back up where you used to be. Someone sent me a photo of a large crowd carrying the U.S. flag and the pie flag. I hadn't heard a peep from anyone, and I haven't seen any more photos anywhere. Huh. They use disease and other stuff as cover to take out whoever. Exactly. That's the point I'm making. These people aren't dying of the Rona. They are being taken the hell out because their crimes are beyond disgusting. They're. I'm getting a little bit tired of somebody, whoever it is. If it's Donald Trump, if it's General Flynn, I don't give a damn who it is. I get real tired of them deciding what's best for us. We're not ready to learn the truth yet. You know, we're the people of high power. We'll let the plebs learn the truth when we think they're ready. That shit's pissing me off because there are enough of us awake out here now. I think we're all grown ups and we can handle it. So this secrecy and this, oh, the public can't handle the truth. Maybe some of them can't, but maybe some of them need that slap in the ass reality and decide for themselves if they're going to accept it or not. But it is time to expose these son of a bitches, because until you completely expose the evil that's been taking place, it won't stop. I guarantee you there are still people in the shadows thinking, oh, they haven't caught anybody yet. I'm going to keep doing this shit. Guarantee that shit. That means that people are still being hurt. It means children are still being grabbed. None of this is going to stop until they are fully and completely exposed. On day one of the fake Joe president, I knew it was fake because of how many executive orders he signed. 17. Yeah, interesting how they use the numbers. And that's always back and forth. 33 and 122 is used on their side. And then every time they're trying to make a statement to the Q team, it's always 17. They're always in your face. Yeah, look what we did. You can't do anything about it, Mr. 17. But you look at the number of deaths when they had their headlines, 33 people died over here and 33 people died over here. It's all symbolism and numerology. They all play these stupid games. But it's time for them to let us as humans see what the hell's going on our planet. And just because they wear a suit and have a couple of bucks doesn't mean that they have a bigger brain or that they can handle the truth better than we can. They need to cut that shit out and break it loose. I got 68 people in here. It's good. I'm not sure how many I've got over there in D Live, but I love y'all, because I can't see you on my phone or on Facebook. So if you guys are hanging out there, I appreciate that too. Um, uh, yeah, the vaccine tests are saturated with the vaccine. Yeah, in some places that's true. But don't forget to line up for your butt swab. Uh, let's see, what was this? Never track your social media, what you say, and target those that disagree with my other channel taken down just for comments they didn't like it. Yeah, you know what? We're all on borrowed time here unless somebody gets a hold of the social media system and gets a grip on them. I mean, I've been absolutely blown away that since the beginning of the year, my channel has basically been cut loose. I I had the same exact number of subscribers since April of last year, and my average views were about 100 and on every single video. So then all of a sudden the first of the year comes, my subscriber count is just taking off like a rocket. My views are getting bigger, and that's not what I'm about. But what I do here is I get information out. I get people to hopefully start thinking for themselves and putting things together themselves. And the reality is, if you're only doing that to, 100 people, that's still a decent amount of people. But what if you're doing the same thing to 1,000 people? That, you know, those 1,000 people are telling somebody else. And that's how this system works. That's how you keep people awake. That's how you keep the riffraff from pulling shit over your eyes in the background, by enough people all in the same direction, on the same path, and working together. So I do this for you guys, and the more of you guys that I can do it for, the better it helps all of us. Nancy, I appreciate that. I just I don't even feel like it's my duty, but it's a desire. I want people to see what's going on around them. I've been on. I've been awake. I figured it out last night. I started questioning things when I was about 15 or 16, and started researching, looking into stuff. And I've known so many years that everything around us is absolute bullshit. And I just, for the longest time, just walking down the street, realizing that I was like Mr. Anderson, in the Matrix. I just felt like I was the only one that could see beyond the pixelation, and that bugged me. So as I've gotten older, I've talked to a lot of people before I ever hit YouTube, and some people listen, some people their eyes glaze over and they just roll their head, but whatever. I tell them, because at least it's planted in their brain and they're going, huh, what about that one thing he said? That's all it takes. If you can get that one person to go, what was that he said? Get them to look into that one thing, and then all of a sudden they're on the path. So that's my goal: is get everybody that listens to me, get them on the path. And I don't give a damn about the left-right paradigm. I think I've made that clear in so many of my videos. The whole party system is designed to separate people. It's a hate-filled system. It's designed that way. And I've never been a Republican or a Democrat. I've just been an American. And some people, they don't understand that. I go, oh, well, you're a Republican then. Oh, really? Am I? I think they're just as criminal as the Democrats. I am a constitutional patriot, and now I have that on my voting registration card. So they can kiss my whole ass. I know the party system is fake. Hello, Cindy. The party system was created as a uniparty when it was brought into its existence, and it was called the Democratic Republican Party. And I've said this in other videos, that it was designed to control the masses. And when the system started to, when people weren't divided enough and they needed to work the system better, they broke away. They became the Republican slash Democrat Party. And when that happened, the Democrats took their group and they worked them. The Republicans took their group and they worked them. And the way they've done this, they've made it so that the Republicans and the Democrats hate each other. And it's for absolutely no reason other than the fact one has a D and one has an R. So you can see the stupidity in that, the ignorance that is required in order to live life that way. Um, you can be an American or you can't. That's all it is. You're either with us or against us. And if you got anti-American people, then maybe they need to go the hell on somewhere else anyway. Believe in the Constitution, live and let live. But these fools at all levels, oh wow, that jumped out of there, are hate-filled and act like they believe in live the target all those that disagree. And that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to keep people divided, and if you can't be on their team, then you need to be eradicated. And Here's a little tidbit. How many times in the last few years, like, I'm trying to think of an election, and it may have been Bush and Gore, but there was an independent running. Um, can I finish? Can I finish? What is his name? Um, oh, he was a little Weasley dude. He was a billionaire and extremely smart guy, fairly aggressive when he talked. And God, I can't remember his name, but he was an independent. Okay, he was getting it. He had people that were following him. I was following him because he was a constitutionalist. Ross Perot, that's the dude. Ross Perot was an independent. And when he started gaining the popularity and Bush and Gore were losing popularity, guess what? The Democrat and Republican Party merged back together to squeeze out the third party. And they do this all the time. They're only separate unless they need to fight against the people. Then they will bring all their might back together and become a uniparty again. They'll get the people back in place where they want them, and then they'll separate again. And if you guys don't see this stuff, you're not looking hard enough. You have to look and you have to listen to how they do things, because if you do, you see it, and they can't get anything past you. Um, uh, yeah, he was executed almost by both sides. They squeezed him out. His popularity went from the first position to, I mean, everybody just all of a sudden forgot him because they figured out how to get the people back on the Republican Democrat ticket. They started vilifying Ross Perot in the media. They were absolutely eating him up. They did the honeypot. They tried to get him for, he slept with this woman, he slept with that woman. Those all failed. So they tried all their little tactics and it worked. They squeezed him out, and then they separated again, and then it became Bush versus Gore. So it was an illusion. Um, let's see. The goal of the elites is to keep us divided in case chaos so they can make more rules and laws and regulations, strangle away civil liberty. Socialism doesn't work without class warfare. Right. People have to hate each other. And if you don't toe the line, you have to have enough people to say, you need to bring him back in line, like the brown shirts and these neighbors that are snitching on neighbors. I mean, there are certain grounds for an absolute justifiable ass kicking, and those are it. If you have people snitching on you because you're not wearing a mask, or you're standing for your constitutional rights, those people need to be wholeheartedly slapped around a little bit. And you know that's what it takes sometimes to let people realize you're not going to be a villain and then hide behind your little cloak. But also the cops that are enforcing these criminal laws. These are criminal laws. They're mandates that are being treated like written law, and that doesn't work. So these cops that are doing their job, they're also need to be reminded of the Nuremberg trials. These people did absolutely horrific things to humanity. And then when they were confronted about it, oh, well, sorry, it was my job. I was just doing my job. Well, doing your job doesn't make you less evil. It makes you complicit in in contributing to the evil. So I'm sick of that excuse. And I'm not one that's just gonna roll over. I think I've made that clear in all my shows. And I've had people also say, "Oh, well, you got to be careful what you say because they'll be coming for you." So what? I really don't give a shit. I'm not going to give them my freedoms. They can come and take them from me, and then I will use the injustice system to the best of my ability to sue the ever loving shit out of them once I get done with their criminal incarceration. The Chinese only think they're dividing us when they step foot on our soil. It's going to be a different story. And then it's only, yeah, and then they get a rude awakening because that'll bring people together quick. But some people will not be together. They will stay. A few months ago, we were backing the blue on Twitter, and now the blue is attacking the citizens. Yeah, yeah. I've always questioned the whole back the blue. What I say is I have nothing but respect for the people who swear an oath to defend the rights of the people and defend the Constitution, but I don't have any respect for the ones that don't. Even if they're wearing a badge, I don't give a shit. They're still human. They're still like me. We all get dressed the same. They just have their gun on the outside and they get to wear a shiny little silver thing or gold thing on their chest. That's the only difference. But it doesn't make them have free reign to be criminals, and that's what some of them are being right now, is criminals. So just because they have the badge doesn't give them exceptional rights over another human. Um, let's see. They released the virus and took the economy down. Right. Mostly they released the fear of the virus. If you think about it, they put the virus into places where it was going to be extremely successful, and the general population didn't work too well. So the virus itself kind of fizzled. I mean, it did real damage in nursing homes, and God bless them, the poor people that died from it. I hate that shit. But when they tried to release it into the general population, it just didn't work. Hello, Pete. But anyway, so it failed, but the fear that they created with it was very spot on. They have been incredible at controlling the masses using the fear, but they lose everything if you lose fear. If you can just start living your life, let things happen if they happen, because one thing that you'll learn is that you cannot stop things that are going to happen. Hello, Greg. Good to see you. But anyway, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. If you live in fear, then you never get anything done, and the powers that be maintain power over you because of that fear. So I have given up. I haven't had fear in so long. I'm just like, what's that? I really don't fear anything, and I have I have had some people say, "Oh yeah, well you would fear this." No, I wouldn't. I really wouldn't, because there are two primal fears that a human experiences, and one is pain. I've been to my pain threshold. I've said this before, and as soon as I hit my pain threshold, I pass out and the pain's gone. So it hurts like a motherfucker. Okay, if you hit your pain threshold, it's pain of biblical proportions. But if you can just keep in your mind that in a minute I'm going to sleep, just the mind is your tool of power. You tell yourself, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts, but I'm going to sleep in a minute, and you will. You hit that pain threshold and you go out. Your body can't stay awake at a certain point. Once you've hit that point of pain, it literally shuts down as a safety mechanism. So that's primal fear number one. Primal fear number two is death. I've said it in so many of my videos that I died when I was 10, and I was gone for more than 15 minutes, and I came back. It didn't hurt. I wasn't scared. It was comfortable. It was interesting, um, mildly educational, but not scary. So why would I fear that? So, get rid of fear. Listen to people that have had near death experiences, and they're going to tell you the same thing. There wasn't pain, there wasn't fear, there wasn't discomfort, there wasn't any of that. So when you realize that, then you have nothing to be afraid of. And when you realize that you can handle a lot of pain, and your body will work for you when it needs to. And when that pain gets to that point, it will shut you down and you won't have it anymore. So if you could just realize those things, those are your primal fears, then everything else is trivial. Live one day as a lion than to live 1,000 years as a sheep. I prefer hardships of a free man over the comforts of the most well-treated slave. Absolutely. Um, yeah, a horse with no name, no fear. That's how I live my life. No fear. You'd be amazed what you can do in your life when you lose fear. You start having fun. It's actually kind of cool. I mean, I just don't know how to describe it another way. That's when you start living, is when you stop fearing. I have been on for 50 minutes. And DVP, let's see, where did that go? I saw something. Oh, PTP and then DVP back to back. Thank you, appreciate that. Yeah, Pete is so much fun. Sometimes I get over there, I'm doing so much work on the computer that I can't stop and take a minute to wave my hand in the chat, because I love you all and I want to say hi to every single one of you when you come on there. But sometimes I'm so involved with doing the research that I'm trying to get information so that I can put stuff out, that it's easier for me to just sit in silence and listen to Pete while I'm scurrying around on the computer looking at other stuff. But don't tell Pete that, because then he'll be all blubbery and teary eyed, and it's just, oh, it's embarrassing. Um, Live well, find your own tribe. I agree with that. But keep your tribe small. Um, you know, respect, care for, and love everybody. But when it comes to the people that you need to have your life in their hands, you need to have that circle pretty small, because you just never ever know. I've got some of the best patriots in the planet in my circle, and you guys. I know that I could turn my back on any single one of you, and I wouldn't have any problem at all. Because this family group that we have, I would go to the ends of the earth with you guys. Um, Most of this fear-mongering, propaganda, and control your mind, and yeah, if they got your mind, they win. And right now, the the battle is literally for the mind. The left is doing their media tactics and all the games that they play, and then the right is being shut down. So they are fighting for the mind of the people. There's Lisa still. She hears me. I'm so glad I didn't start saying mean and nasty things about her, because good Lord, I didn't know she was still here. But she's so far away from me, she can't throw anything from up there. Yeah, the windows are hurricane windows, so she couldn't even throw something through them. So I'm really safe down here in the Jeep right now. Um, Cinderella's charming. How are you doing? Haven't had TV on since they brought on November 4th. Yeah, we hey, see, um, get the shirt off my back for you. Well, I would do the same, brother. Appreciate you, man. Um, yeah, it's everything's kind of nuts. Um, yep. Greg says, "Hey, Lisa, what did I read a second ago?" Yeah, they haven't had the TV on. Yeah, my wife and I watched the old shows from the 70s and 80s because there was no narrative yet. They didn't realize how effective it was to put things into your television shows and onto your commercials. I mean, still you get commercials, but there's always the mute button. But shows like Magnum PI, I love Magnum PI. There's no narrative in it. It's just a whodunit on every episode. It's a murder mystery or whatever. So it's mindless entertainment that replaces a book without an ulterior motive. So you got Chips. I mean, if they tried if they tried to write Chips right now, and even more so, Charlie's Angels, Those women are responsible for more unsolicited erections in the 70s than any other thing in the entire world. And that's just wrong. But beautiful women, though. If you tried to write Charlie's Angels now, the left would lose their shit because it's the whole show is, misogyny, it's womanizing, it's women using their beauty to get things that they need. It's all those things that society now has just gone crazy about. But in the 70s, that wasn't even talked about. It just wasn't brought up because you can take the reality from outside and separate it from the reality of your TV. And you realized it was just a TV show. That's not how people act. But now they've merged television into reality so much with these reality shows and shit like that that people can't take an entertainment box and separate that from the life around them. It's really sad. Blowing my brains out of mead with my 45. Hope not. Kentucky, you patriot. Patriots are such beautiful people inside and out. Amen to that. I believe that. Yes. Surround yourself with love and with peace and respect. God, this world would be a beautiful place. I hope I get to live at least in a period, even if it's a couple of years, if I get to participate in 1,000 years of peace. If I don't, then I don't. But if I do, damn it, man, I'm gonna be a happy person because I just want the magic of peace. I have been in battle most of my life, and it would just be so nice to just be able to enjoy absolute euphoric peace for a while before I step off this rock. And I'm sure there are others that way too. But anyway, I've been almost an hour. Lisa, if you're still watching, what's it look like for you finishing up as far as your drip? Are they getting close, or do they get a late start? I don't fear death because I know where I'm going. I'm saved and born again and washed in the blood of Jesus. Yes, sir. I want to live in a van motorhome down by the river. That's a good dream. That's a way to do it because you don't have to worry about your shit getting flooded either. If you know that rain's coming down, the water's coming up, you live by the river, you just turn that puppy on, you drive a couple of miles away, kick back in a Walmart parking lot, and then go home when the water goes down. But it's against the code. So, building codes won't allow you to do that shit. Building codes need to go away too. Let's see. We must stay together, Peggy says. Yes, indeed. And that's what all this is. This is bringing everybody together. All of our Patriot channels out here that you're done. Okay. All right, folks. With her saying that, I'm going to go get her and rescue her and go pay for her next treatment and be ahead of that. But I appreciate you guys hanging out with me for an hour, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. We'll keep you posted on how things are going with Lisa and the testing and all of that. And until next time, y'all, stay in the fight.